This is the first page of Google search results for President Obama. He's still threatening Reese Witherspoon. You know, I'm not gonna try to find out what she's doing. He's threatening her. He's threatening her to have her arrested. He's just threatening her and threatening her, while he continues to support male celebrities who have really done serious crimes for which they never did the time, and no one ever expects. Not only does no one ever expect them to do any time for it, or to have to pay any serious fees, or actually have to take responsibility for it, they are still being supported by this guy. Still being supported by the president, who actually has now moved on to support even other types of crimes. Because I've had these are searches that I did with my computer a few days ago, and I left the pages. Sorry. This is a list of them. I left the pages here because I had noticed something when I watched the movie Celebrity the other night. I noticed there was a character in the movie named Nola, and the movie's from 1998, and I knew that there was also a character in the movie Match Point named Nola. And I had noticed actually when I saw the movie Match Point, which I saw it in the theater actually. I noticed that a woman gets killed by a man, and then he just nothing happens to him, and he just kind of gets over it. And I had remembered that Woody Allen had done another movie that had this had basically the same situation, and I kind of wondered about it. And then I kind of had wondered about it a little bit, and then so the other night I started to do some searches about it. Because I was wondering, I think probably there are people who have sort of asked the question: Did Woody Allen actually ever kill somebody? Did he ever kill somebody? So I just started doing some searches. I was like, I tried to just find out a few things about him. I tried to find out if there's ever someone named Nola in his life, or if there was a girlfriend or anything like that. What I found, interestingly, was I looked at this. This is the movie from 1989. Called Crimes and Misdemeanors, that has there's that theme of someone who has an affair with a woman, and then she threatens to tell his wife, which would make his life difficult, and so the end result is that she is murdered. And it wasn't until like having read this a few times, and then sort of looked. I looked for an hour, a couple hours, tried to sort of look for information, and then all of a sudden it occurred to me. The name of the character, Dolores, that's the woman who dies in this movie, and it's actually the real name of the fictional character. How am I going to say this? The book Lolita. The book Lolita is a fictional book that was written in the last century. I think it was like 50 years ago, around 50 years ago, and it's about an older man, a man. I think he's in his 40s, who seduces. Well, he actually seduces a woman, not because he loves her, but because he wants to have sex with her daughter, who's like 12. She's like 12, 13, something like that. And in fact, she dies, the wife dies, the woman who becomes his wife, she dies in a car accident, and then he just takes over the life of the little girl and does have sex with her, and has like, it's a very sad, very horrifying book that a number of people have talked about for a very long time. But this is the actual given name of the fictional character in the book is Dolores, and it all of a sudden struck me that was the name. She's given all sorts of nicknames, Lolita, that kind of thing. One of her nicknames is actually Lo, and then I started to kind of think about it. The Woody Allen, there may be younger people who did not hear about this. Woody Allen was in a relationship with someone named Mia Farrow for several years, about a decade. And then they weren't married, but their relationship broke up, and he had been having an affair with her adopted stepdaughter, who was like 17 years old, and it wasn't the first time. He is, and there's also seems to be quite a lot of evidence that he molested children, molested children. And then I started to really think about this. I was like, well, look, this is the name of the wife in the movie, Miriam, right? This is the name of the husband, Judah. I think that's difficult to figure out. And what occurred to me after a few hours of just trying to figure out, just trying to sort of ask some questions, at least to myself, and sort of look things up online, that this movie was filmed like a couple of years before all of that stuff got to be public knowledge, and Woody Allen's relationship with Mia Farrow ended, and it was quite a scandal. It was quite a scandal. He married that young girl. They've been together ever since. I was in high school, I think. But this would be I think around the time maybe it was starting to kind of, his behavior with Mia Farrow's, some of Mia Farrow's children was perhaps starting to disrupt the family life, and he was, it occurred to me, perhaps Mia Farrow was starting to suspect, perhaps he was just maybe one of the children had threatened to tell. You can't really know, or maybe he was feeling like he was losing control of the situation. And my feeling about this movie is that it was like a threat. It was like a threat to all of them, a threat to all of the children, a threat to even Mia Farrow, a threat. Because it's not just about ending a marriage, something like that. It's something like that. It will, cause you also to lose your reputation, which it did for a lot of people. Although, Hollywood is such a screwed up place, and the entire all the craziness about the entertainment industry is really so crazy. It should have ended his career, really didn't. It should have, but it didn't, right? I mean, there's a lot of discussion about this man and the things that he's done. So. And you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it in his movies too. I mean, this person Nola, but she shows up that he names somebody Nola in Celebrity, and she's this young, selfish, kind of promiscuous woman. And he, again, it's a question of him, like he's just gotten into like a stable relationship with someone. And he leaves her for this very, he kind of impetuously leaves her for this younger woman who turns out to be really, a lot of trouble, that sort of thing. But it's just, it's basically just him excusing himself and victim blaming, and then her name is Nola in that movie. And then Match Point, the person's name who gets murdered is Nola Rice. And then I started thinking about this too. I was like, all right, well, Nola Rice, Dolores Paley. Is he talking about their white skin? I mean, is that what it is? Because people who have a certain type of fetish, a certain type of unhealthy obsession, it will often sort of be one particular characteristic. And one of the things that is a Jewish, Woody Allen grew up in a time when anti-Semitism had very real consequences. I mean, there were schools you couldn't get into, there was work that you couldn't do. And there was, I think, a lot of racial tension about that. The idea of Jews having darker skin and non-Jews having lighter skin could be part of it for him, I think.